Hello, everyone. Once again, sorry for the delay of videos. Been very busy, a lot's been going on with my personal life. Now I'm finally back to making more YouTube videos. So, in the meantime, fasten your seatbelt, let's get started with today's review. In today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the film All About Eve from 1950, and here's my Blu ray DVD. All About Eve is a drama film made by 20th Century Fox. The film was released on October 13th, 1950. All About Eve grossed $8.4 million at the box office. It was well received by critics, fans, and audiences at the time of its release, and has since been considered one of the greatest films ever made of all time. All About Eve was nominated for 14 Academy Awards and it won 6 awards. It won Best Director, Best Picture, Best Supporting Actor, Best Sound Recording, Best Screenplay, Best Costume Design. All About Eve was directed by Joseph L. Mankiewicz, who also did the screenplay. It was produced by Daryl F. Zunick. The music was done by Alfred Newman. All About Eve is based on a short story called Wisdom of Eve, written by Mary Orr. All About Eve stars Bette Davis, Anne Baxter, George Sanders, Celeste Holmes, and Marilyn Monroe in one of her first early film roles before she became a big movie star. All About Eve is about Eve Harrington, who wants to become an actress. She wants to meet her idol, Margo Channing, who is a Broadway aging actress. When Eve meets Margo and tells her friends a melancholy story, Margo takes her under her wing, but it appears that she is a convier and is only using Margo. All About Eve, in my opinion, is a great and brilliant, fantastic film. This film kind of reminds me of Sunset Boulevard to some degree. The difference is, in Sunset Boulevard, that film showed the dark side and the corruption behind Hollywood. Whereas in this film, this shows the dark side of fatal attraction, fan obsession, and meeting your idol gone wrong. I love I love the opening narrating sequence by theater critic Addison DeWitt explaining each of the characters' roles in the theater and how that you have some people doing it for the art and some people are just doing it for the money. This film has a great and brilliant, fantastic cast that are just like unbelievable and just spectacular and amazing. I mentioned before with this film having a similarity between Sunset Boulevard. I don't know that much about like the history of theater, but I can only imagine there probably is the dark side and the downside of theater. Just like the dark side and the downside of Hollywood. Eve Harrington, played by Anne Baxter, does a great job playing Eve. When we first see this character, at first we think that she seems like this nice, sweet, innocent girl who has a tragic backstory. But unfortunately, as time goes on, after when Margo hires her as her personal assistant, we see that she has an obsession with Margo Channing. She wants to be her. Seeing her like try on the dress behind closed doors as if she was like pretending she was Margo doing a performance, that's a sign there that she's like not there, that she has a mental problem, and also that Eve is a compulsive liar. She turns everyone's against Margo when she's looking for attention. It shows how bad a person she is. Margo Channing, played by Bette Davis, is just brilliant, spectacular, amazing, does a fantastic job as Margo Channing. This is probably one of Bette Davis' best performances ever, like probably on our like top 5 and top 10 best films of all time. We really feel and sympathize with her seeing what she's going through, having a nervous breakdown, seeing like what Broadway actresses go through when they've hit like rock bottom and at the end of their peak in their prime, when they've hit 40. We also feel bad for her seeing how like Eve is looking for all the attention as Margo is not getting the attention she wants and deserves. Margo Channing's boyfriend, played by Gary Morrell, he really loves Margo, really wants to marry her, but she's never really preferred herself as the marrying type because she's been too busy devoted to her career. They say love is right in front of you when you least expect it. Margo's friend Karen, played by Celeste Holmes, is a very likable and very good friend devoted to Margo. At the same time, she regrets and feels guilty of introducing Eve to Margo, but she had no idea this was going to happen. At the same time, it's still like hard to forget, and it can take a while to improve a friendship after an experience like that. In one scene when Lloyd, Karen, and Margo are in a car heading somewhere, After like when the car runs out of gas, she like does like shrugs like this and like goes deep down under as if like that's a sign of like feeling guilty of what has happened after when Eve came in the picture in their lives. Addison DeWitt's character is like all stereotypical critics. I love the scene when he finally reveals the truth about Eve. Really is, and that she was a liar the whole time. Spoiler alert right here. For what I'm about to reveal, stop the video right here if you've not seen this movie yet. This film has a great cliffhanger ending where we see, after Eve winning an award, she heads back to her apartment, and Phoebe, a fan of hers, waiting for her to meet her. It's basically deja vu all over again, a taste of Eve's own medicine. My theory on this, I wonder if Addison DeWitt had something to do with it. My theory that he probably paid Phoebe in order to give Eve a taste of her own medicine after what she did to Margot. I forgot to mention Marilyn Monroe's character earlier. Her character is okay. There's really not much I can say about her other than the fact that this is one of her first like early films before she became a big star, and that she would go on to play like her usual stereotypical dumb blondes in the rest of her career in movies. Facts about All About Eve. During the making of this film, Betty Davis and Jerry Miller fell in love during the making of this film. They got married July 1950. They adopted a daughter, named her Margot. In some ways, you can point out they were not acting. They were actually like really falling in love during the making of this movie. This film holds a record for the most female Academy Award nominations. Years later, Betty Davis said in interviews that making All About Eve was a great experience. She said that the only bitch in the cast was Celeste Holmes, despite they played best friends in the movie. Holmes talked about her experience working with Betty Davis on the film. She says from day one, she walked in the studio and said hello, and Betty Davis did not respond to her. Gives thanks and credit to Joseph L. Mankiewicz for saving her career because at the time, she was not doing very well with unsuccessful films that came out at the time. It took 16 days for Betty Davis to film her scenes. There were wording concerns from the writers, producers of Betty Davis being cast in All About Eve because of how difficult she was, but Joseph L. Mankiewicz said that it worked out well surprisingly and how she was very well professional when she made the movie. Betty Davis suffered a severe blood vessel during the making of this film and had a raspy voice. Mankiewicz liked it so much that he decided to let her keep doing what she was doing and not change anything. Cocktail party scene. The dress that Betty Davis wore did not fit her because there was no time in order to change and fit out of that dress. He just went along with it. Raja Gabor arrived on set because she was jealous of her husband George Sanders doing the scenes with Marilyn Monroe. And Baxter got along very well during the making of this film, despite playing tense characters in a crazy relationship. This is one of the few times where Betty Davis got along with one of her co-female actresses. That share the most Oscar nominations are Titanic and La La Land. Stated in later interviews that this was the most rewarding film she ever worked on, and this was George Sanders' favorite film of his own. Ingrid Bergman was supposed to play Margot Channing, but unfortunately, she ended up turning it down because she had just fallen in love with Italian film director Roberto Rossellini, because she did not want to leave Italy. These were shot in San Francisco at Current Theater at 445 Jerry Street. Crane was originally casted as Eve Harrington, but unfortunately she ended up getting pregnant. But in the end, for some reason, Mankiewicz preferred Anne Baxter over Crane for some reason. Future President and future First Lady Ronald Reagan and Nancy Reagan were offered the roles of Bill Sampson and Eve Harrington. The character Addison DeWitt on film drama critic George G. Nathan. The only Oscar that George Saunders won as an actor. He cast as Margot Channing, but had to back out because she suffered a ruptured disc during the making Three from Home. And that's how Betty Davis ended up getting the part to Margot Channing. Marlene Dietrich was considered for the role of Margot Channing, but she was turned down because she was considered too German. Margot Channing says before the cocktail party, "Fasten your seatbelt, it's going to be a bumpy ride." Back in the 1950s, there were no seatbelts in the automobile. She was referring to airplanes. Marilyn Monroe was just starting out as an actress. She was a little bit intimidated by all the veteran actors and actresses that were around her. Italian Post synchronized version of this film. Years later, they originally planned a sequel for All About Eve, but unfortunately, Betty Davis said she was not interested. The film was originally supposed to take place years later to see what happened to Margot Channing. There was a Broadway play based on All About Eve called Applause. Freakin has said this is one of his favorite films of all time. This is on Roger Ebert's greatest films list of all time. The 1001 movies list to see before you die. His 21st greatest film of all time. Performance as Margot Channing was ranked number 5 by Premiere Magazine as one of the best 100 film performances of all time. Fasten Your Seatbelt, it's going to be a bumpy ride, was ranked number 9 by the American Film Institute. Eve, hope you enjoyed it. Please like the video, please subscribe, and hit that notification bell to get my latest updates on my channel. See you in the next video. Goodbye.